Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Devashri Hingne and welcome to the Learning Saturday. So today our topic is Stripe payments. So before moving towards the webinar, I would like to introduce our presenters Aarti Kot and Rishikesh Devkate. So let's begin with our session. Now the points which we are going to cover today is in the beginning we will see the overview of Stripe, then we will see the adding payment method for the user. Then we will see how Stripe does a one-time payment. Then we will see some points related to how Stripe plays a hold on the card and does the payment after the service is completed. Then we will see some concept regarding subscriptions. Then we will move towards Stripe Connect and we will see the types of connected account. And at the last, we will see the demo implementation. So before going towards Stripe payments, let's see some basics of Stripe. So in the simple terms, we can say that Stripe is a payment gateway, or we can say it is a way to accept the payments online. Stripe can be used in multiple types of payment scenarios, like we can say in one-time payment subscriptions or in any SaaS applications. Stripe has provided very simple API docs and it is very easy to understand, which is again the plus point of Stripe. Stripe provides us the built-in forms which are used to accept the input fields like CVC, card number, postal code. So these are the fields which are required for the further payment. Now, these were the some basics of Stripe. Now I request Aarti to continue with the one-time payments.
Thanks, Devashri. Hello, everyone. My name is Aarti Kot. Now we learn adding payment method for the user. So let's say Stripe to accept multiple payment methods and simplify global operations. As we know, we all do the payments in a different ways, like a credit card, debit card, bank transfer, etc. As the same way, Stripe accepts the different payment methods like bank transfer, mobile wallets, credit card, debit card, etc. with the simple integration to perform global operation. Simple payment method setup. Stripe provides the simple payment methods setup. Like as we know, payment flows are complex to manage because it depends on the customer's interactions that handles outside our application. So it's difficult to manage. So Stripe provides simple payment method setup with handling some authentications and validations. Stripe Payments APIs. Stripe provides the APIs to do the payments like a setup intent, payment intent. They provide to do the payment flows like handling the payments in the Stripe. Also, Stripe provides the perfect checkout experience, which works across all the browsers and all the size of devices to do the payments. Next. Now, let's see the steps of adding the cards. So for that, we need to set up or install Stripe in an application, get secret API key and publishable key. These keys you can get from Stripe dashboard from developer section. After that, create customer on the Stripe using a user details. Configure payment method using a setup intent. This payment method is now set as default payment method. Yes, when we create the customer on the Stripe using the user details, at the same time we accept some details from the front ends like email, tokens, and other details. When we create the customer, at the same time we configure the payment method using a setup intent. And then configure the payment method will be a default payment method of that created user. Like that, we configure the default payment method and we create the user in same call. Next. Yes, now we learn how Stripe does a one-time payments. Build an integration that can handle payment flows. As we know, payment flows are complex to handle. So it's so Stripe provides a simple integration to handle payment flows with the help of payment intent and setup intent. Payment intent that accepts the payments with the different parameters, and setup intent that save the details, payment details to do the payments later. So this can be done for like one-time payments. So create the payment intent for one-time payment using a payment intent.create method. Yes, if we want to create the one-time payments, we use the payment intent.create method. As I already told you, payment intent accepts the different parameters. The one of the main parameter is confirm equals to true. While we creating the one-time payment, if we set that confirm equals to true, which means that we creating and confirming the payment in the same call. If we not set that confirm equals to true, it's by default is false, which means that we create the payment intent object, but our payment goes into the pending state. So that uh, capture the actual payment using the payment intent dot capture method with payment intent id is required. Yes, as I already told, when we not set confirm equals to true, which means that it's false. So that created payment intent, we need to capture the actual payment. So for capturing the payment of that intent, we use the payment intent dot capture method with payment intent id. Yes, next. Yes, this can be a one-time payment example. Here you say the photography class. If we want to purchase or we buy this course one time, we access this course lifetime. This can be considered under the one-time payments. Yes, next. Yes. Now we see how one-time payments happens. When customer requests some payment information to our platform, we give that payment informations. We call the Stripe APIs and we generate the tokens with the help of payment informations, and that token and other details we pass to our backend server. Then again backend server request to the Stripe, that is a payment intent or that is a charge request to the Stripe. Then Stripe returns the response of that request with the status of that payment flows, and we return that status of that payment to our customers, that is like succeed, failed, incomplete, etc. Next. Yes. Now we see how does a Stripe place a hold on the card and does payment after service is completed. Yes, Stripe provides mechanism for holding the amount and pay it after service is completed. It means that we can hold the amount and we can capture after our business completes the services. For example, if some may hotels authorize the payments before guest arrives and move payments when guest is checkouts, like the same way we can hold some amount on the card and we can capture that after business services complete. So this can be done by adding one parameter. While creating the payment intent capture method, param should be manual. Yes, I already told you, when we create the payment intent we accept the different parameters. Then another parameter which is a capture method, when we create the one time payment place hold on the card, that time we said that capture method equals to manual, which means that we holding some amount and with that capture manually that payments. So to process further payment we execute capture method, but before the capturing that method we need to call one another method, that is a payment intent dot confirm method with the payment intent id, which means that we are confirming to payment intent that we capture that method. So before calling the capture method, we call the confirm method, and after to process further payment execution, we call the capture method to complete the payments. Yes, next. Now I request to Devashree, please continue with the subscription. Thank you.
Thank you, Arti. So our next topic of discussion is subscription. So subscription is the process where user needs to pay prior to access the service or the product for a certain period of time. So that time period can be for 1 day or 1 year, or also we can, or Stripe also provides the facility to create the custom time period. So user is charged for the 1 year. After a year, again user is subscribed to continue with the service. We can also in Stripe we can create the trial period. So before going towards the subscription, we can create the trial period. If user wants to continue with the service, user can create the subscription. So to create the trial period, there is no payment method required. Once the trial period is completed, the invoice is sent to the user with zero amount, and then user continues with the subscription. But for creating the subscription, creating customer on Stripe is mandatory. So while creating the customer, attaching the card, credit card or debit card, any payment method is mandatory. to further to process the recurring payments. Once the customer is created, card is attached to the customer, and then we can or the customer can proceed with the subscription or can access the product. So other than this, if user wants to cancel the subscription or want to remove the subscription, this can be done by using the Stripe APIs, because Stripe provides the APIs which can easily handle by the front end and back end, and we just need to pass the customer ID and product ID. So this was the overview of subscription. Now we will see how user subscribe and user creates the subscription. So here is the example. We can see that we have a premium product with the value $20, and it is a monthly product. Like for accessing that service monthly, we need to pay $20. So what does user do? The user creates the subscription, and invoice is generated by the Stripe, and it is sent to the customer. So once the first time the subscription is created, after that, once the payment method is attached, the second subscription is done automatically. Like we can say it is called as a recurring payments. So this can be done automatically or user can manually pay. So this was all about the subscription. Now we will see the example of subscription. Netflix. As we all use Netflix, we have already known to this, like what is Netflix. But Netflix can be the one of the example of subscription. Here we have 4 plans, that is mobile, basic, standard, and premium. So we can see that we have monthly plans, but their prices are different. And the in that price we have different facilities like resolution or devices you can watch to, and video quality. So this was the plan we can subscribe. If I go for the basic, I will get good quality, good video quality, good resolution, and I can get phone, tablet, computer, desktop, these many devices to access. So I hope now you have got some idea regarding subscription. Now I request Rishikesh to continue with Stripe Connect.
Yes. Thanks, Devashri. And hello, everyone. My name is Rushikesh. So, our next point of discussion is Stripe Connect. So, when you are using Stripe Connect, you need to create an account, we can say known as a connected account, for each seller that receives the money on your website, or we can say on your marketplace. So, let's say you have a shopping website. When any seller sign up on your website, then it is the best time to create that Stripe seller's connected account. So, like when any seller creates his account on your website for selling his product, then he needs to receive the money. So for that, we need to first create his connected account, and then he can receive the money. So our next in the next slide, we'll go through the different types of connected account. So next slide. Yes. So like here you can see Stripe Connect provides 3 types of accounts for marketplace platforms, like we can say first one standard, express, and custom. So we'll go through this in the details in the next slide about these different types. So here you can see we have distributed that connected account like standard, express, and custom. And using this like keys or parameters, we have like given the detailed information about this account. So we can go through the first one, standard account. So standard Stripe account is a conventional Stripe account where the account holder, or we can say the seller, has a relationship with Stripe. So relationship with Stripe means we can say seller is able to log in to the dashboard and can process all the payments and all the different, like we can say transactions like refund, payout, and all the things managed by the seller. So he can create his account and he can manage all the payment activities by its own. So after that, we have express account. So in this type, like we can say the as we are using marketplace for the connected account. So what happens in this, like that main owner of that marketplace, is responsible for handling all the transaction activities like disputes, refunds, and that connected account user will have some interaction with Stripe. So some interaction means we can say some core payment processing functionalities are available to that express that seller, we can say. So means if like as you know like that main platform Stripe dashboard has like different functionalities like payment, subscription, and all the things. But in this case, in the express type, that the seller is able to only access some of the basic functionalities, like we can say he is able to see his personal details, then he's able to do the payment payouts to their bank. So only these types of uh, what we can say, these types of controls are given to express account. But yes, and our next one is custom. So custom Stripe account is completely invisible to the account holder. Here our account holder is the seller, so we can say like seller is not able to mm, go through that his Stripe account. As you have seen in standard and express, the Stripe has given some access to or complete access to that seller. But in the case of custom, that seller is completely invisible to the that platform. Okay, so for all interactions with his user, including collecting any information Stripe needs, also all the things are handled by that owner of that marketplace. So there is nothing to be done by that seller. All the things are managed by that what we can say, the super admin or that marketplace owner. Yes. So these are the some differences, or we can say detailed idea about different types of connected account. And also you can see the some of how those are divided, like integration effort, like for standard account we can easily integrate it with our platform, and for express we require moderate level of like complication. And after that custom, so custom is like with custom we need to do all the things by that marketplace owner, so there is some complexity. So in the next slide we'll go through the example of Stripe Connect. So here you can see Stripe seller. So I think most of you know about the Stripe seller. So Stripe seller is like concept is like that user, or we can say seller, first create his connected account on that Amazon, and he add products and he can sell that product on that platform. So to explain this example, we have created one flow diagram. In the next slide, you can see one diagram. So I will explain with this. So you can see here, like we have three components. We can say customer, platform account, and partners connect account. So here platform accounts we can consider as Amazon. Then on the right side you can see partners connect account. So it is like sellers. Those are adding. First part happens like on the Amazon the seller sign up. Then he create his account as a seller. Then what happens, like as we discussed earlier, when any user, or we can say any seller sign up to your website, then that is the best time to create that seller's connected account. So now that seller has created the account, connected account. Then he is adding his products on the Amazon website and selling to the customer. So on the left side you can see the customer. So a customer is accessing the services of the seller, means you can say that customer is want to buy any product, then he can buy and pay some amount to the that suppose consider that if any product of 1,000 rupees is purchased by that customer, then he pays that 1,000 rupees to that connected account of seller. Then what happens, like as that sellers are using Amazon, so that Amazon wants some commission for that product. So suppose that Amazon consider 20% commission of total amount. So what happens, like the 20% is given to that platform, or we can say Amazon, and remaining amount is given to that Amazon seller. So this is how this payment flow works, and this is one example of Amazon. And we can take another example like Uber ride. So Uber ride is like it is also one type of marketplace, we can say. So there what happens like Uber is when we can say platform account, and there multiple drivers are like joins the Uber, and like they are like connected users, we can say connected account. So what happens like they they takes the rights, like we can say they takes the orders from the customer. Like what happens like customer uh, book order on the Uber, and customer pays some amount to Uber. Then what happens like Uber takes some commission, and he gives some amount to that driver. So here is also the Stripe Connect flow we can see. So this is how Stripe Connect flow works, and you can see in the diagram as well, like all the components like customer, platform account, and partners connected account are connected with each other with the Stripe. So all the payment activities, or we can say any different transactions, are done through Stripe only. So we can say this all the things are happened securely. So this is how that flow works. And also these are some examples I given of marketplace. Or we can say another example like if we have the two partners in our business, and they are selling one product to customer, and they want the amount to be distributed between them. So they can go for the Stripe Connect in that case as well. So they can, like, when any customer buys any product, they can distribute between them using Stripe Connect. So this is how Stripe Connect flow works. So I hope you got the idea about Stripe Connect now. So in the next slide, we'll go through the demo part. So before going for the demo, we'll go through the basic steps, how to start with the demo. So we'll go through the demo documentation. So I will request Devashri to start with the documentation.
Yes. So actually, for the demo, we have used Angular for the front end and Django for the back end. So this documentation is actually made for the Angular, and for the backend we have made for the Django. So to integrate the Stripe in the Angular, like in your Angular platform for the front end, so the foremost thing is to create the account on Stripe, and we need to get the API keys from the dashboard. So there are two API keys, that is publishable key and secret key. So we need these two keys to integrate the Stripe in our application. So once the Stripe account is created and keys are get, so we need to install the library in Stripe. So we need to install the Stripe library in our application. So that for that we need npm install @stripe.js command. Now, after installing the library, we need to load the Stripe. So to load the Stripe in our application, we need the publishable key, which is very important for the front end side. And for loading the Stripe means to load the Stripe elements. That is, in the previous slides, I have explained that Stripe loads the element or provides the built-in forms which can accept the CVC card number, postal code, uh, these and expiry. So these elements actually is loaded by Stripe, and for that we need this publishable key. So once the card is loaded, we need to create the token. So actually, when we add the card details like card number and everything, so card details is a very sensitive data. So we cannot pass that data directly from the front end to the back end. So what Stripe does, Stripe secures that details by creating the token. So to create the token, we need the owner info, that is the card owner info, and the card details. So Stripe provides the create token function. For that, we need to pass the card details and the owner info, which generates the token. And then that token and with the customer ID is passed to the create customer API to generate the customer on the Stripe dashboard. So this is the basic flow on the front end side, which is required to create the customer and to attach the card. So if once the card is attached, we need to, if once the card is attached, then after attaching a default card, if someone wants to if the user wants to add another card, then we can use the confirm card setup method, where we can pass the billing details and card element, that is card details, and again that card will be added to the customer, but that will be not the default card, it will just a card attached to the customer. We can use that card for the further payments. So this was for the front end side. So to make the payment, like to create the one time payment or to create the subscriptions, so for that we need the backend APIs integrated, and we can use that APIs in the front end side by passing the customer ID and product ID. So this was all about front end. Now I request Aarti to continue with backend side, that is Django.
Thanks, Raveshi. As we use integrate the Stripe in a Django. So for that we need to install the Stripe. So that's why we use the pip install Stripe in our Django application. Once we install Django, once we install Stripe in a Django, we need to add the publishable key and secret key in our application. So that's key we can get from the Stripe dashboard from developer section. We can add these keys in a settings.py, and we can add this key.env file in our application. Once we added, we can use further APIs of Stripe to integrate our Django application. So after that, we create the customer. Yes, for creating the customer and managing, we create the customer using the email and token. Thus, email and token we get from the front end side. Once we get that, we pass to that customer the dot create. That time we create the customer. Also, we in the same call we set up the default payment method of that created user. So that's time in the same like in this, while we create the customer, we set up the payment method of default, and we create the user. Once we create call that method, we get the customer ID. So after, by using that customer ID, we can add the more feature to that customers. Yes, for attach payment method to a customer, to attach, as I already told you, we create the default payment method for that user when we create the user. If user wants to adding the more payment methods, from that payment method dot attach, we can add the different payment methods to that customers with the payment method ID. Payment method ID and customer ID we can get from the front end side. So payment method ID is the type of ID of that method type ID, like a bank details or credit card detail ID, that is a payment method ID, and customer ID whom we need to attach that payment method. So from that payment method dot attach, we can add multiple payment method to that customers. Yes, scroll down. Yes, for create a payment intent. It's just a process to collecting the payment from your customer. So this payment intent, as I already told you, we can accept the different parameters like amount, currency, confirm equals to, which means that we creating and confirming the payment in the same call. Then customer ID, to whom we create the payment intent ID. Then payment method ID, like the which type of payment method you use to do the payments. Then payment methods type. From that we create the payment intent, that is a one-time payments we can create the using that payment intent dot create method. Yes. Yes, for the creating subscription is used to charge the customer on the recurring basis. So that we need to create the customer. So for that subscription dot create method we use with the customer ID, to whom we add that subscription, and price ID. Thus we can get from the Stripe dashboard also what type of subscription we need to add to that customer. So for that, so creating the subscription, we add the customer ID and price ID while we create the subscription. Yes. Yes, for standard connected account, I request to Rishikesh, please continue with the connected account.
Yes, Thanks, Arti. So, like we have standard connected account. So, as we already seen in the presentation, like different types of connected account and what are the requirements and how. So now we'll go through the basic steps to integrate that connected account. So here we are integrating standard connected account. So we'll see how we can do. So we have different steps. So first one is create account, then generate account link, then redirecting that seller to that generated URL, and last one need to get the status of that seller whether he has completed onboarding or not. So we'll go in the details with the steps. Like first one, you can see create account. So first step, as we have already discussed, like when any seller sign up to our website, we first need to create his connected account. So for this, for creating account, we only required compulsory field is type of connected account. As you can see, we have added type as a standard, and we have other fields there as well. But those are optional, like country and address. So we'll be adding those fields later at the time of onboarding. So after like adding type as standard, after creating an account, we'll get in the response we'll get the account ID. So we can use that account ID in the further steps. Like in the second step, you can see we have second step, that is generate account link. So before moving to generate account link, like most of you got like why we should generate an account link. So what happens, like when any seller sign up on any marketplace, or we can say on the website, then for like receiving money, he needs to add his bank details on the that connected account, or we can say for Stripe. So like any seller may like feel insecure, like why should I add my bank details to any website? So instead of that, Stripe has provided this feature, like that using that Stripe connected account ID, we can create one time secured URL. So that seller is redirected to that secured URL, and he can do his onboarding process complete. So you can see here, we require account ID, then we need to pass refresh and return URL. So these URLs are like, as we have seen, that generated link is secured and one time. So when any seller is refreshed from that secured URL, then he will return to that, or we can say redirected to that URL we added in front of refresh URL. Like you can see our platform. So we need to provide our website URL, so he can return, like as that generated link is of Stripe and that is secured. So when any he does the refresh, or we can say he returns from there, or he completes his onboarding on that URL, he will return to our main website. And we can say also type. So we also need to provide the type of account. So as we are doing the onboarding process, so we need to add this account onboarding. So in the third step, like in the next step, we have as we have seen already, like we need to add refresh and return URL, and also handle users that have not completed setup. So what happens, like when any seller redirected to that secured URL, then like he will complete his onboarding or not, or his as once that seller has completed his onboarding, Stripe takes 3 to 4 days for the verification process, as that seller has his account added bank account is correct or not. So we have one Stripe API, like to get account ID details. So by calling that API, we'll get all the details, like that account setup is completed or not, or that verification is done or not. So all the details we can get from that. So we can maintain the state to our website for that seller. So this is all about the connected account basic. And In the next step, we'll go through the demo part for all the things like one-time payment, subscription, and connected account. So I request Arti to start with the demo.
Yes, thanks Rishikesh. Now here you can see we have the three demos like for one-time payment, subscription, Stripe Connects. Let's see one by one. Firstly, we see the one-time payments. Devash, can you click on that? Yes. Here you can see the various fields like name, email, country, amount, credit card, debit details. Like for that, for creating the one-time payment, now we creating the user and we for creating the user and we creating the one-time payments in the same call. So that for that we need to add email ID and the amounts and card details is a mandatory field here. So yes. Here you can see the different countries option like selection countries option. You can select any country from. Yes. For credit card credit and or details card details, these stripes these elements is actually coming from the stripe elements, and when we entering the stripe card details, Stripe automatically detects that which type of is card. When also it provides us some validations like when we as we use the test accounts. So if you enter any wrong card number, so it shows the errors. It gives the error like your card number is invalid. Also, it checks for the card expiration. If you enter any previous year, it also shows that your card expiration years is in the past. Also, it's for the CVV checks there also. If you enter the any two digits, it also gives an error. Your security code is incomplete. So this all the validations is handled by the Stripe only. So that's. Can you click on play now? Yes, here we successfully complete the one-time payments. For more details, we can go to the dashboards, Stripe dashboard. From the customers, we can check that just we created one time. Yes. From here, you can get the more details about that transactions or that payments informations. Yes. Here you can see the one-time payments we just created user. Yes, there are the payment informations here. Then payment method, which is we just created, which is a default payment method. Then the amount is success. Here you can see that the status of that payment. Also, in the left side, we see the customer's unique ID. Then account details of that customers. All the details given by the stripes. Then even for if you can you scroll down the list? Also there we have the many details like recent activities, and if any invoice is generated, we can see that in the invoices sections. If we have any credit balance in our, they can show here the credit balance of our account. That's all the details you can get from the Stripe dashboard. So now I request to Devashri continue with the subscription demo. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Arti. So now, as Arti have explained regarding one-time payment, I will go to the subscription part. So for a subscription, we need to create the plans like basic plan, advanced plan, gold plan. So these plans are created from dashboard, like from Stripe dashboard. In the products section, we can create that particular plans. So we have add product option here, and we can add the product name, then description, then pricing model, that is like standard pricing or package pricing, and then we can have the option like recurring or one time payment. So as we are creating the subscription, we can add the option as recurring, and we can have the certain amount here like 300 rupees or 400 rupees per month. And here there will be a billing period like weekly, monthly, or every 3 months, 6 months, or yearly. And also we have a custom period where we can like show or add the custom period like 1 day or 1 month, anything. So this is how we create the product for the subscription. Now if I choose the gold plan, So I will be paying 300 rupees for a year. And so as we are using the test account, Stripe provides the test cards for us. And I'm using another card now, that is MasterCard. So for creating customer, now the firstly, there will be a customer created on the dashboard to create the subscription, and this credit card, this card is attached to this customer, and the further payments or the further recurring transactions will be done through this card, because this card will be now will work as a default card. Yes. So we have successfully created the subscription. Now we will go for the. Now we will check the Stripe dashboard. Yes. So here we can see that we have successfully created the subscription for this user, that is subscription demo. And okay, so this was the yearly plan. So we can see that we have a upcoming invoice that will be on 31st July 2022, and we need to pay 300 rupees for that. And again, we have the invoice paid, like we have the invoices generated. So this is the only one invoice, because we have just did only one payment. If we again pay for the next year, then again there will be another entry for this invoice. And again, we can see that we have subscribed for this gold plan, and other details like the subscription ID, then billing method, and uh, uh, next invoice, and started like on 31st July it was started. So this was all about subscription. Now I request Rishikesh to continue with Stripe Connect.
Yes. So after Stripe Connect is completed, I will answer that question. We will answer. Yes. So as we have already seen in the documentation, different steps to set up our connected account. So first step was like, firstly we need to create and Stripe connected account. So for that we need a type. So as we are creating a standard account, we have passed that standard type. So now after creating an account, yes, you can create account. Hello, yes, Devshri, you can create account now. Yes. So now you can see once we created a Stripe connected account, we'll get one account ID. So using that account ID, we'll move to the next step, like generate account link. So we need to pass that account ID plus refresh URL, return URL, and account type, which account, like onboarding or what. So after calling that API, we will get one secured Stripe URL. So we'll redirect it to this URL. Yes. And on the left side, you can see the logo and the name. So we added this by like customization. We have done this customization, like by visiting Stripe settings on the Stripe dashboard, we can add logo of our website and our website name, and also we can like change the theme of this page. So depending upon our requirement, we can customize this. So on the right side, you can see email field. So we need to add here email, and once we added email and continue, so Stripe checks whether that seller's account is already exist with Stripe or not. If the account is not exist, then it will ask for to create new account. Yes, continue. Here we are creating a new account. So new email, password. Yes. Also, we need to add our phone number, like as we are creating Stripe account. So for verification, Stripe asks for the phone number. Yes. Now after verification, we got one like secured code. So we need to like save this code because in the future, if any data loss happens to our account, Stripe account, so we can record that data or backup that data using this code. Yes. So next. So in the next slide, you can see the some basic business details like our business address and state and business type. So here we need to select our in the first slide you can see registered business address. So here you need to select a country for business. So like in the first like we can say we need to make sure that we have selected correct country because once we selected a country and we move to the next page then we're not able to change that country again because like that Stripe not able to do that because once we selected any country during creating an account then after change for changing the country we need to create a new account. So, so make sure at the first place we will choose the correct country. Yes, so you can add address. So we need to add here address and below that we have type of business. So there are different types of businesses options like solo proportionship and company and personal. So, depending upon these business types and depending upon the country we selected, these types are changing. And yes, so we have selected individual and moving to the next page now. So after selecting the business type, Stripe asks for the personal details like name, DOB, and so that this information changes changing from country to country. Like as we have selected country as India, it is asking for PAN, and for different countries it asks different details. Yes, continue. So we will not adding all the details. We just show the which are the fields required to create or set up your Stripe Connect account. Yes, you can see here we need to add our business basic data like which type of industry we have, product details, what types of products we are selling. Yes, continue. Yes, here as we are using Stripe test account, so Stripe has given us test account data like bank account details. So we can use the test account here. So seller can add his bank account details here in this page. IFSC code, account number. Yes. Yes. Now it asks for the our business name, then some description about our business. So we have not created anything here. Like this is all things are created by Stripe only. We have just integrated this API of this to generate this URL. Once we generated all the things like all the that fields and all the things are managed by Stripe only. So now you can see we have like gone through all the fields and after we have added all the fields we can like in the bottom you can see the done button. So after completing onboarding so we can click on the done. Then as we have added the return and refresh URL at the time of creating the generated URL. So once we done or we can say on the left side we return to Stripe demo. So we redirected to our website where we started this connected account process.
So here is a QR code. Like if you want to get the document which was shared on the screen, so you can scan this QR code and you will receive the document.